I kind of regret this one. Hey guys, it's Laura. Welcome back to my channel. If you're into luxury videos on handbags, shoes, shopping, occasionally travel, topics like that, then stick around for the next video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and don't forget to click the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. Alright, well we are officially in the last month of the year. In a few weeks we're going to be in 2023, so I thought I'd do a video going over what I sold in 2022. So most recently you would have seen my Uptown pouch unboxing, and you would have seen that I sold my Uptown pouch in the smooth black leather and replaced it with the Uptown pouch in the pebbled leather. I'm really glad of that change. The smooth leather, I absolutely love the look. It was very beautiful and supple. However, I had that one about 3 years, and so it was starting to show some wear and tear. It had a scuff on the back, a scratch, and while that wear and tear was still pretty small and not super noticeable, I decided to take the opportunity to sell it then and replace it with this one. Now, I did buy this at Selfridges. I bought this for $445 US. Recently, YSL did have a very big jump in prices, and this is retailing for $625 here in the US. Selfridges has since updated their pricing as well, so you can no longer get this for $445 on their website. It is now $625, unfortunately, so I'm glad that I bought it at the perfect time. The second thing that I sold this year was my Hermes O'Kelly pendant. Mine was rose gold plated, and the blue leather charm that I had mine in was in the color blue lin. Now, I really did like this necklace. However, the necklace did have some cons that I just couldn't get over and were ultimately the reason that I decided to sell it. Number one, it would rip my hair out at the back of my neck, and none of my other necklaces do this, so I'm not really sure why the Hermes one was doing it, but every time that I wore it, it would literally rip hair from the nape of my neck, and there would be hair in the chain that I would have to pick out every time that I wore it, which I didn't really like having to do, and I wasn't about to get a bald spot for a necklace. The other thing that I didn't really like about it was the charm was constantly flipping over, and I mean, with necklaces of that style, it's a pretty common thing, but I think that compounded with the hair ripping was just ultimately what made me decide to sell this necklace. The third thing that I sold this year was my flat card holder in the reissue rose gold colorway. This was from 21A. It is an absolutely beautiful color. I loved it so much. I instantly fell in love with this design in the mini reissue and the matching card holder, and I bought both. But on the card holder, I started noticing that after like maybe 2 uses, the metallic was already kind of wearing off of the corners. It already had very visible wear and tear for just having been used a few times, and so I knew that it wasn't going to look nice for very much longer, and so I decided ultimately to let that one go. Now, speaking of the reissue, if you'll remember, I did have the matching mini reissue in the rose gold colorway. It was called Copper Pink. It was part of the 21A collection as well. It was a beautiful bag. I loved it. I loved looking at it. I absolutely fell in love with this bag. I love the design of the mini reissue. I love that there are double grommets at the top so that you can adjust it from a shoulder bag or a crossbody bag. You don't get that with the mini classic flap, so that is one pro that I have for the reissue over the regular mini, but ultimately it wasn't a bag that I was reaching for. As beautiful as it was just a lot of money to be sitting in my closet. And also at the state of the economy and knowing the potential for a recession, it just seemed silly to be holding on to a bag that I wasn't really reaching for, and no matter how beautiful it was, if it didn't really work with my wardrobe, it just wasn't the right fit. So with all of those thoughts in mind, I ultimately decided to sell that as well. I also sold my other reissue. I had a gold reissue in the medium size. This was actually an impulse purchase. I went into the boutique looking for something else. I was looking for my beige caviar classic flap. They didn't have it at the time. The essay showed me the gold reissue, and I absolutely fell in love with that bag too. But the problem that I had with that reissue was mainly the size. For a gold bag, I think I would really like to use that more for like an evening or an event bag, and so I would prefer something smaller as opposed to the medium size. For me, the medium size really does feel more of like an everyday bag. I do wear my medium black classic flap out to dinner and things like that, but for events, I probably wouldn't reach for a medium flap bag, so that was the reason that I decided to sell that one as well. I would love that gold color back in my collection. It was like the perfect champagne gold. If I were to find that bag in a mini or even in the wallet on a chain, I might consider picking that one up. I also like the turn lock on the reissue. I love the CC turn lock on the classic flap as well, but sometimes it is nice to have a little more of a subtle option, and the reissue definitely ticks that box. The next things that I sold were 2 pairs of shoes, and they were both from Dior. The first ones were my Walk in Dior sneakers in the gray reverse 12 de Juillet. I loved those sneakers when I bought them. They were so cute, but I'm not a huge sneaker person. And I realized after purchasing those shoes that I really much prefer espadrilles as a designer shoe option over designer sneakers. And designer sneakers really are not the most comfortable sneakers. There is always a break-in period. I remember the first time I wore the Walk in Diors, they gave me the worst blisters. I had to kind of fold the back and step on it so that I could continue walking through the rest of the day until I got home. They did eventually break in and get more comfortable, but again, I just realized they weren't really fitting my style anymore. When I do wear sneakers, it's usually just for exercise, and so ultimately I decided to let those go. They're so beautiful. They sold really quickly as well, so I'm sure the person that purchased them is really enjoying them. The other Dior shoes that I sold were my ballerina flats in the Canage design. These were a seasonal design that were just absolutely beautiful. I haven't seen these since. I do see them in the heel style still though, not in the slingback version, just like a regular high heel. But ultimately, I decided to sell these because they were a little bit awkward to walk in. Whenever you get that pointy toe, sometimes it feels a little bit like a clown when you're walking around, and they made a lot of noise and they were just a little bit awkward to wear. They were so beautiful. They looked gorgeous on the foot, but when it came to functionality and practicality, I much preferred my Chanel slingbacks. So I think I would add another pair of Chanel slingbacks instead of Dior. The slingback part on the Dior kind of slid off more than the Chanel does, at least on my foot, and then the Chanel has more of an almond toe shape, so you don't really get that pointy awkwardness of the other ones. So right now these are the only slingbacks that I have from Chanel. I would probably add a black pair and maybe in the flat heel instead of this smaller heel. I do love the smaller heel though, but those were the 2 shoes that I ultimately decided to sell from Dior. And now for the last thing I sold this year, and I kind of regret this one. It is my YSL Lulu. I don't know why I did it. Okay, I know why I did it, and I'll explain it to you guys, and I'll explain my train of thought. But yeah, I had the YSL Lulu. I bought it several years ago. I absolutely love that bag. It is such a functional bag. It is a great first designer bag if you're looking to add one. The reasons why I decided to sell it were 2. Number 1, that bag came with a defect that I didn't notice when I first purchased it. And I wish I had been more circumspect when I looked at the bag when I first got it, because I don't think I would have missed it then if I just had kind of gotten over the excitement of having this YSL bag. I kind of moved past it for a while, but then I had a few popped stitches. And so recently when I was kind of reevaluating my bag collection and thinking what I wanted to keep, what I wanted to sell, I decided that I was going to sell that bag with the intention of replacing it. Well, life got busy, I sold it, I got a really good price for it, and then there was a price increase, a big one, and I just instantly regretted selling that bag. I mean, not the bag specifically. What I regretted more actually was like not buying the replacement sooner, because now they are just so expensive. They're retailing for, I believe, $2,950 US, which is unimaginable because that is $1,000 more than what I originally paid for that bag. So it just, you know, all these price increases I think kind of give us a lot of sticker shock, and I knew to expect it. I knew that there would probably be one coming, and I just kind of dropped the ball on that one. And so will I add a small Lulu to my collection again? The answer is probably yes. I don't know if I would go down the pre-loved route, and I would really like to get it in the exact same colorway, just not with those defects that mine had and the pop stitches and everything like that. So yeah, I would probably look on Fashionphile or Rebag to see if one comes into stock. They do have one on Fashionphile, and ironically it has a pop stitch too. So that one is probably not one that I would buy. It is at a good price though. I believe it was at $2,025. I'll link it down below in case anyone's interested. Maybe you know how to fix bags and things like that. And then also Selfridges has a couple of them still priced really well at $2,450. That probably will change though soon because Selfridges, as I mentioned earlier in the video, has been increasing their prices to match US pricing. They had two last I checked. They had this beautiful dark beige one with the gold hardware, and then they also had a cream one with gold hardware. So if you like the light neutrals with gold hardware, then I would definitely check that out at Selfridges before the price changes. They did have other Lulus as well, just at varying prices. So yeah, I do regret selling the Lulu a little bit, but mainly for the timing of it and just kind of forgetting to purchase it before the price increase. All right guys, well that is it for my video for things that I sold in 2021. If you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That really helps small creators like myself, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!